Hello everyone, my name is Felipe Pires and today we're going to talk about a specific topic that I like a lot. We'll talk about the malware hunting discovery techniques in malicious PDF. Okay, again, my name is Felipe Pires and I'm security research and cybersecurity advocate at Senha Segura. And during this conversation, my idea is to explain something about how the malware works using, for example, a PDF. And my idea to explain more if you are using, for example, in your environment, if you are a financial, if you are, for example, a HR company or whatever company you are, but if you have some specific web application and you some possible vulnerable way that usually the attacker like to use it to explore this possible environment. Okay, so let's talk about our main topic today. Once again, so let me share who am I. So I'm security research at Senha Segura again, and cybersecurity advocate this company. Senha Segura, if you don't know, it's basically a Brazilian company. They have a specifically PAN solution. It's a kind of core product, let's say, and it's acronym of the Privilege Access Management. And we are developing in this moment now the cloud security solutions. And our idea is to bring you this, you use your data should be more secure in your environment. Okay. I'm a founder of this organization called Black and White Technology. This company is based on Portugal, and by the way, I'm Brazilian. I'm live here in Portugal. I'm a founder of this organization. This company is basically a consulting company responsible for providing different services like penetration testing, consulting company like a DevSecOps, application security, and so on and so on. Okay, I'm advocate of this three main projects. Okay, one of the main top projects is hacking is not a crime. The idea behind of this project is to talk about the concept called the hacking, because it's a misconception here and in this case, because many people like to using hacking as a malicious guy. Is wrong, because hacking is a lifestyle, how you can see the specifically applications and how you can discover, for example, vulnerability, and how you can help the organizations. In this case, when you talk about the bad guys, the correct word is a threat actor or the attacker. So basically this project is called about this. Okay, one of this project is Sneak. Sneak is basically the open source project. It's based on a statistical analysis code analysis, responsible for run specifically analysis coding in specific environment and bring you specifically vulnerabilities and the code and libraries and so on and so on. I'm one of the leads of the DevCon groups in São Paulo. Is a community responsible for exchanging knowledge about the cybersecurity. And I'm a structure writer and reviewer those these three magazine, Pentest Magazine, Hack9, and Forensic. If you would like to write a specifically article, probably I'm one of these reviewers when you send from this three magazine. Cool. This is who am I? So by the way, my mother like a lot this picture. Okay, she don't speak English, but she likes, and your son makes more important. Okay, so let's talk about our main topic. So first of all, I'd like to put every people in the same page. What is threat? Okay, it's not definition from Philippe, is according this ISO. Okay, threat is defined as a potential cause. It means, so we don't know exactly if it's malicious or not, but it's a potential incident that we need to discover inside the organization. But what kind of incident, Philippe? What kind of potential? In this case, we talk about the software attacks, okay, or theft of intellectual property. So if you develop something, if you are a startup company, for example, so this is one of the properties that you can need to protect, and the kind of theft of intellectual property is a kind of threat. Another is identity theft. So again, Senha Segura is a solution company or is a PAN solution company responsible for providing these protections about the identity, okay? And of course, each profile inside of your organization needs to have a specific permission inside of your organization. So if you have an identity, this entity is responsible for access a specific resource inside of the environment. So we need to manage this specific identity. So when you talk about the identity theft, is another kind of threat. Sabotage is a kind of threat because if you have a company and someone start to talk about your organization in Twitter or other social media, for example, trying to bring some damage in your brand is a kind of threat. And information security distortion, like a ransomware, okay, are example of these information security threats. Okay, just putting every people in the same page, a simple definition what is exactly threat. Okay, so when we talk about the malware or attack, usually we don't have exactly, you don't know if it's malware, because remember, is a potential incident, okay? So if you have a potential incident, maybe you have an artifact here. In this case, you need to analyze this artifact. We need to analyze this sample, okay? So, and we talk about this flow, I will show this flow. This artifact is the first step, identification step. It means that this malicious software is acronym of the malicious software. You can divide this, and another is maldoc, malicious document. So first of all, you have the sample. So you need to investigate, you need to using this specifically step, identification. The second part, you need to define what is the best methodology you can use, statistical analysis or dynamic analysis. Okay, I will explain after that what is exactly each one. And not only this, but my recommendations to you when you do, or when we do some investigations or something like analysis about these potentials, remember about the threat. So my recommendation is to create a report. Why? Because you can write all those steps used by the attacker. What kind of technique the attacker uses, for example, to explore environment? What kind of technique the attacker using to bypass the firewall or web application firewall or the antivirus or EDR? So you can describe each step used by the attacker. You can present this report to your manager. Not only this, but for your career, you can create an article. Okay, maybe you can publish these articles. Of course, we need to be the respect about the disclosure process. Okay, but you can publish if you just looking from the malware, for example. And after that, of course, when you understand this flow inside of the environment, you can work in to improving defenses mechanism. That's the idea here, because you understand what is the technique used by the attacker. Based on that, you can do some adjustments and specifically security solutions, like, for example, PAN, EIM, WAF, web application firewall, or IPS, intrusion prevention system, or IDS, intrusion detection system, or whatever tools that you have in your environment. Not only this, but you can create this amazing word called it cyber threat intelligence. You can build it. This is in this case a kind of challenge, because you can use in different tools to help you, but you need to have the analyst to looking from this word called cyber threat intelligence. You can have more than one, for example, research, but it is useful to using when you analyze specifically malware. Not only this, but you need to have this other beautiful word called strengthening cyber resilience. Because nowadays, when you talk about the companies, for example, when you think about the cloud environment, so nowadays, if you're a startup are starting now some different products or new product, usually this company start in the cloud. So in the cloud, it's a very complex environment because they have many entities, many relationships, many rules. So you need to have the cyber resilience. So using tools to help you to protect. Okay, this is a simple flow that I like to using to explain this analysis. So what is the first step? Statistical analysis is the first step. Usually this is the first step using when you talk about the malware studies. Why? Because simple, because describe the process when you analyze the program code. It means the structure, or when you see for a specifically library inside of this code, what kind of a function is important from this library for the specifically malware, what is the connections, the relationship between. So in this case itself, you doesn't run at this time the malware. Because of that is more safe, because you analyze the structure of the code. You analyze, for example, if you are analyzing, for example, something in for example, in some batch file, or even C program file, or other, or Python file, or whatever Python. Of course, some binaries is compiled. It's more difficult because you need to use the reverse engineering in this case. But basically, Felipe, what is a reverse engineering? Is the technique using both methodology, statistical analysis and dynamic analysis, okay? Because you can use this specifically reverse engineering both methodology. Okay, and I will explain now what is exactly dynamic analysis. Dynamic analysis basically is the analysis based on behavior. It means that I need to execute itself the malware or the sample or the artifact inside of the controlled environment, and I need to see all steps the malware using inside of this environment. This is based on the statistical analysis. So if you compare two methodology. First of all, you need to analyze just the structure of the code, and the second one, we will need to execute itself the malware. But not only this, but one of one of the concepts called sandbox, you can use it when you analyze a specifically sample. Why? Because you have the controlled environment, you can put in this malware inside of this, you can run this malware inside of this. But it's not exactly a simple sandbox, because sandbox basically is a virtual machine that you have in a specifically controlled environment, but you need to have the engines inside of this sandbox or this virtual machine. Why need to have? Because these engines will be responsible for bringing you the results if it's malicious or not. So based on these engines, based on this knowledge, based on this intelligence, okay? So it's not exactly a simple virtual machine. When you talk about the sandbox, you need to have the engines on, or if you don't have the engine, it's just a virtual machine. But of course, you can use it to analyze specifically malware, okay? Nice. So before to talk about file upload, it's important to understand some bases. Let me go to my virtual machine here. I have here my virtual machine, as you can see here. Okay, I have this folder called malware, and I have here, I have some, let me list. This is a command to list, okay? So I have here folders and files. I don't know, remember about thread, I don't know if it's malicious or not. So I need to figure out what is, or if I have some specifically malware or possible or sample is malicious or not. So I have here specifically a file called senha segura, okay? I will use this file type, this tool called file, okay, to set here senha segura type to see if this file is malicious or not. This is basically the first tool that I'm using here to analyze. Usually, if you have this experience, probably you use the same tool. If you don't have this experience, my suggestion is to use file, because file, basically, if you put in manual here, as you can see here, is basically to refer is a determine file type. Basically, that's the idea, okay? So because of that, I use it here the file to identify what is exactly this file. In this case, if you see, is a text file, simple like this. So I will use cat to read the content inside of this file. If you see, you see here, this is the information inside of this file. It's a text file, as you can see here. But here we can see another information. It's a kind of print. What does that mean, Philippe? This is, if you know something about programming language, is a simple, I don't like this word, but I will use this word. Is a kind of ridiculous Python script code, simple like this, okay? And by the way, I can set, for example, Python is a utilitary or a tool. I can use in here just to execute itself this command. If I click enter here, take a look at this. Sample is not a malware because we need to analyze, okay? It's a kind of joke here that I like to use. But if you see here is a ridiculous Python script. But as you can see here, is a text file when we use text file. But remember, when you talk about the identification steps, is a first important part when you talk about the malware, and not only the malware, but the investigation. So let me use in here, for example, Nano, to manipulate some information inside of this file. If you see here, I using Nano to open this file. As you can see here, I click enter, and after that I will put it %pdf-1.9, for example, and I will using command X to exit this command. And after that, I will put yes, because I will save this file in the buffer. And now if you see here, take a look at this, we have this information, okay? What is exactly, Felipe, this information in this case? I'm changing something in the beginning of the file. Basically, this command file uses this information to identify the file. The information you can find here. Put man here, and I will explain. So if you see the manual, I know probably you don't like to read the manual. Maybe I don't like, but it's necessary to read the manual. But what is the information? Use it for this tools called file to identify what is the file type. If you see here below, is not exactly a magic. We can see it's not exactly a magic, but they have a specific information in the beginning of the file. As you can see here, let me check here. I will explain the binary exceptions. This information is below. It's here. Okay, so this file have a magic number stored in a particular place near the beginning. Does that mean each file has this information? magic number. This is information is important when you analyze some binary. So binary is not exactly executable, but every file that you have inside of the environment is a binary, okay? So if you analyze a text file, PDF file, Word file, or a PE, portable executable file, ELF for Linux, for example, or for macOS or whatever, is a binary. So each file has a magic number. This information is used for this tool called file, okay? So when I change this information here, I change the magic number of the file. And if I use here, once again, file type to read the same file, but I manipulate something in the beginning of the file, as you can see, take a look, this is not more a text file. Now it's a PDF document. Wow. So something happened here, as you can see. If I try to execute once again the Python script, as you can see here, take a look, this is what happened now. So if I try to click enter, once again, something happened. It's error because it's not exactly a Python script. I just putting a simple letters in the beginning of the file. I manipulate the magic number of this specific file. If I use it, for example, PDF ID to analyze some specifically files like this, for example, okay, will perform some scanning inside of this file, and they will try to collect some string, okay? So if I click enter here, take a look this, they analyze the header, is a real PDF because these tools look at for the beginning of the file, they identify the magic number, and this file don't have any object or no string, no cross-reference table, no trailer, and other information. But these tools, looking from this file, identify this file as a PDF. But this extension, in this case, is doctext, okay? I run the Python, it doesn't work, okay? So let me manipulate the last time here, and I will cut here. Let me go back here. Let me cut here. Okay, and I will save once again. Yes, I will save. And not only this, but I will change here senha segura for senha segura doc PDF. I changed the extension now. And now, take a look at this. We have a senha segura doc PDF. We don't have more doc text. If I using, for example, file command, take a look what happened. It's another text file. If I try to do the Python script once again, take a look what happened now. But now the extension is doc PDF. Remember some error. But if I try, it works. Oh my goodness, what happened now? If I try to use the PDF ID to look in this again, take a look what happened. Oh, Jesus, it's not a PDF document. You see, I manipulate the magic number and I'm using two tools, and the tools don't know what is exactly the content inside of the file because they looking from the magic number. Basically, they analyze the magic number, but I manipulate the magic number. So the extension here, as you can see, is a doc PDF, but the magic number is not a PDF. As you can see here, is not a PDF. In this case, when I try to execute a Python script, running has a Python script because of Python. So that's the point here. We need to understand how each tool works, like a file, like a PDF ID, whatever tool you like to use. You need to understand how these tools look into the file, not only to identify the magic number, but to do other functions. Okay, that's important. Okay, so let's return to our presentation now. So I talk about the file manipulations, and not only this, but explain how it is possible to manipulate file. And now I will talk about the file upload. Okay, this vulnerability. Basically, this vulnerability is possible when we have some applications, web application. Okay, and this application has a bottom upload file, and I can upload some file inside of this, and this file will upload inside of your server. Okay, in the server side, you will upload inside of your server. So imagine that you are, for example, a financial company, or you have a financial program, or even you have, for example, or if you have a HR company. So you all day you receive CVs, right? Resume So you probably have this, the name, the surname of the people, you have the, the LinkedIn or other social medias, and you have the upload button. Okay. So now I will explain, if you have this application, what kind of vulnerability you can have. One of these is file upload. Okay. So take a look at this video, for example. This is a simple Pentester Lab web page. This is the first example. So this application has this button, okay, as you can see here, and I will see some files, okay. The first of all, I will using this shell.php because the application is PHP, okay. Is a Python script, as you can see, and of course is a text ASCII. Okay, I just set in here a simple, another ridiculous PHP script, as you can see here, and we have a specifically get here. I can use CMD, but I could use, for example, whatever, or hacker, or whatever name I want here inside of this code. Okay, just a simple system. And now the challenge is I need to upload my file called shell.php inside of this application. Okay, so that's the challenge. So I just set a browser. As you can see, if you have a financial company or HR team, and I send the file. If you see here, upload done. Okay, so now we will see a specifically mistake. Usually that happen that you can find in specific web application. Usually this is a big mistake, a big problem. So if you see here, you can see the real path inside of the server. So this is the real path at the place where you can find this file. So my file now is inside of the server. If I click here, I can see again. So this is a very nice image. Let me return here once again. So this is basically the path, okay, dash var dash www dash upload. This is until here, www is the web server, okay, of the victim in this case. And this is another two directories, it means, or folders, okay, upload image and shell. So this is the real path, okay, where my file is. Basically, I know the real path, where is my file, where I upload my file. This is the big problem. This is the big mistake, that the developer put in. They should hide this information. And after that, I set here my file, as you can see here, okay, upload dash image dash shell. And if you see here, I set CMD, and after that, I can set commands inside of the server, as you can see. Okay, I list informations, I set the uname -a, I can see the version of the file. So I have here the command execution that I can do execution of the commands inside of the victim. Okay, so now let me go for the second one example. Let me go to the second one, okay, because I this is the second one now. This is the first example. Let me show here the example 2. Okay, in this second example, the developer treated the file. As you can see, they put no PHP. Okay, so nice. Now the application is safe because the developer treats the application. But if you see here, take a look what happened now. I just copy and paste, as you can see here, and I change the extension. Simple like this. I just change the extension. If you see here the file type, okay, I continue to be the Python script. Okay, if I try to read, is the same command. Okay, let's see what is the behavior of the application. I try to upload, take a look this. Okay, is the correct. When I try to send the file, well done, as is there. It means that the only treatment that the developer made here is to treat the extension. Another big problem here, because if you see, I can see my whole path inside of the environment. Okay, so let me explain. This is the first example, as you can see here. Here, the developer didn't treat any information inside of the server. Because of that, we saw the path, as you can see here. Okay, the real or the regular path inside of the environment. Okay, and let's see the second example. In this case, take a look at this doc PHP. This is the treatment. The developer should treat in another way, like for example, or magic number or other magic number we can manipulate, of course, as I show you, but we should treat in another way. Not only this, but we should hiding this information here, okay, because it's important, because as an attacker, I know where is the path now. So I can set some commands as I will show you here. So if I have my shell inside of the environment, I can try to list some command here, the command execution. This is another vulnerability, command execution. So this is my IP address, the attacker, okay, IP address, as you can see here. And after that, after set some commands, I see that this application has, for example, a netcat. So I can use netcat to execute a reverse shell inside of this environment, as you can see here. So I just need to set my IP address as an attacker, okay? And after that, I will set -a /bin/bash, okay? And I just open here this port 443, simulate the HTTPS, okay? As you can see here, it started to listen in my machine. After that, I just click enter. If you see, I got a shell. So now I am inside of the victim machine. This is my shell. I have an access in the victim machine inside of the server. So now we have a RCE, remote code execution. So I'm doing some commands here inside of the victim machine. If you see, I'm the home page. I can see the users. I can set some commands. As you can see here, I use set this is specifically the folder var at www. As you can see, I can see the upload files here. Remember, I can see the whole codes that you have. Not only this, but we have an access the entire environment of the virtual machine based on a specifically file upload. Okay, so nice. Let's go back before to talk about the physical and logical structure. Let me summarize something until now. So first, we're looking from the methodology used into the malware. Okay, we manipulate some files, as you can see in the beginning of this conversation, and after that, I explain that I can manipulate the file. So we need to have the specifically point of entry inside of the virtual machine. So we're using a file upload vulnerability. We can upload, for example, the HR company. We can upload the PDF inside of this environment. Okay, so now what are the impact if this PDF was malicious, for example. So now I will analyze one specific PDF inside of this in this presentation. So I will show you how it's possible to be potential, how it's possible to be malicious and specifically PDF. Okay, so PDF has specifically 4 parts. Okay, the first of all is the header or online header. The second one is the body. The third part is a cross-reference table, and the last one is a trailer. This is the summarizing of the information. In the header, we have the version number. In the body, you have a kind of shiny things like a page, image, fonts, bookmarks, and so on. Cross-reference table is another important information. Is a location of the objects within the file for random access. That means you have a specifically 3 structure, like you have a first of all here you have the root file, and after that you have a kind of child files. Is a 3 structure. Okay, and not only this, but the trailer is a location of the certain object within the body to be this reference inside of this environment. Okay, so let me explain here. Let me finalize to go to the end of this presentations. Okay, so I received here a CV, a resume to analyze. Okay, so first of all, you set here the file, as I mentioned with you, to identify if it's a PDF or not PDF. Okay, to see the structure. After that, I set PDF ID, so I will see the structure of the PDF. If you see here, they have a header, they have a 15 objects, okay, and they have 2 streaming. This is an important part here because streaming usually is used by the attacker to put in some malicious content. It means that, so if you have many streaming inside of the PDF, you should analyze because probably you can find some information inside of this. Okay, and not only this, but if you see in these presentations, you have 5 reference, 2 for JS and 3 for JavaScript. So it means the PDF has a JavaScript. Probably this is malicious, right? And not only this, but if you go to any specifically AA here in the presentation, and open actions is another important information. What does that mean, Philippe, in this case? This basically is the information that brings us that when the user opens this file, the only action the user needs to do is to click once and this file. After the user click to open this file, after that, the file will running specifically task in the background. But until now, we don't know what is exactly this action. But the only action that user needs to do is to open the PDF, okay? When you have this open action, is that means the user, when the user open the PDF, something will happen in the background, okay? So let's think about this specifically information here. We have a JavaScript, and not only JavaScript, we have an open actions. So maybe this two functions are linked. So let's investigate. Let's see what happened during this investigation. Okay. So let's see what is information we can find here. So let me go here. This is the first command I like to use. Is a PDF parser. As you can see, PDF parser -s to see the row. -s is to be the source. Okay. So here I am explaining just to find the JavaScript, and after that to explain the JS, but it's not important. I know that they have 5, as you can see here, but more important is to see the raw data inside of this PDF. So I set here PDF-parser, as you can see, -w, okay? It means this W, it means raw, okay, is the raw data. I put -h to see the possible. If you don't know what kind of command you can use, you can see -h or -help. Okay, is a suggestion when you don't know how the tool works actually. And after that, I set here -w, as you can see, CVE, and after that, I put in pipe less just to start into the beginning, because the buffer, in my case, because I like to use Terminator, is not too big. Okay, so when I set here -raw, take a look at this object 1. This is, remember of the tree, okay? So we have here in the beginning, this is the first object. Object 1 is the root file. And after that, we have the other child, as you can see here. Okay, take a look at these presentations. This object 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. This is the child of this father, okay? And if you see here, take a look what happened now. So remember, we have a 15, not 7. We have a 15, okay? And if you see here, take a look. This is the object. This is the reference. The type is kind of catalog. And not only this, but take a look what happened when the open action happening. So if you see here, the open action is totally linked with a specifically JavaScript. So now we know when the user opened the file, okay? So let's think. So the talent acquisition team received this PDF or received this resume, they will open, because this is the normal behavior, right? So they will open the resume, and because of this open action, we will starting a JavaScript in the background. This is the information we can see. You can confirm it based on this explanation here in this specific file. So remember, you have an application, receive the file for this upload, and after that, the HR team will receive this PDF. They will open this PDF, and after that, running the JavaScript in the background. So totally malicious. So let's continue to see the the information. So we have an object 2 and no one information. Object 4 referring another 2, 8, and 9 new objects, as you can see here, because until now we just have a 7 objects, now 8 and 9. Object 7 referring another 10, and this 10 referring another a first JavaScript, as you can see here. So we need to figure out where is the JavaScript, okay? And object 9 referring a 4, because it's a relationship in between each one, and here referring another, like 11, for example. Object 10 is a JavaScript. Here's a part of the content of the JavaScript, okay, and referring the object 12, okay? And this is the first information. This is the first stream. Remember, we have a 2 streaming here in this specific presentation. So this is the first left specifically. This is the kind of size of the left of this content. Is too big. It's too small in this case, and we need to set this. As you can see here, is a flat decode. We should, in this case, just decode this information, because this is the tag flat decode. We should decode here, but the size, the left, is too small in this case, okay? So let's continue to see the object 12 referring 13. And after that, take a look. This is the JavaScript 13. and the 13 has an streaming. In this case, the left is too big. Here is the content. So we should explore this content, okay? So here is, we should decode the information inside of this. Based on that, I'm using here the PDF TK. Is a tool that I can uncompress and compress PDF files, okay? So basically I set here PDF TK, set the file, I set the output because I will collect all those information inside of the PDF using the uncompressed tag or parameter, whatever, and I copy and paste in this dumping doc text, as you can see here. So after execute this, take a look. This is the content inside of the streaming. Wow. So now we have the JavaScript obfuscated. So the next steps is to identify what information we have inside of this. So I copy and paste here, as you can see, and I'm creating another folder, another file called sample, as you can see here, doc.html. Why? Because a simple web application, if it's a web application, if it has JavaScript, I can try to print this information in a specifically web application. So I'm using here HTML tags here, or parameters, because I found this eval parameter here, and this is the eval, as you can see, eval A, and here is the A from this eval. It's a kind of technical information, I know, but this is the technique that I used to write this content using the HTML page. Okay, so I set here the script. So now I will save, remember, sample doc HTML. I need to give the specific permission this for this content or this file. This is the content inside of the file. I save here, as you can see. Okay, but I need to give the permission to run this file. I set here the permission as administrator to execute this sample. As you can see, now I can execute itself this sample to understand what information I have inside of this content. Let's see what happened now. So I using, for example, Firefox. I set the sample. Let's see. Cross your fingers. Let's see if it happened or not. And bow. Now we have a payload. What is the payload, Philip? What is exactly payload? Payload is a malicious package or malicious code responsible for downloading the victim machine, and this package will be responsible for executing the callback connections to the attacker. So this is the content totally malicious, because this content will be responsible for execute the reverse connection to the attacker. Okay, so this is the JavaScript. The JavaScript is inside of this. They will execute this package to download the victim machine. Okay, so just to finalize this investigation, so I copy and paste. I have here some standard, as you can see here, and I'm using different Linux platform, but I like to use as well Windows. Let me just explain using Windows. So this is the content, as you can see, the same content we saw, okay, the eval parameter, the same content we saw to see the payload, okay, the variable. This is a variable, okay, payload. So I copy this information here, and I using another tool in the Windows platform. I like to use both systems just to show you how it's possible to do this investigation, not only in Linux but in Windows as well. So I copy and paste here, and I using this specifically UCS2 to X. That means this is the technique used by the attacker. Okay, this is specifically encoding techniques. Okay, to encode some information. So this payload, okay, the attacker using a specifically encoding technique to encode this information, encode this payload. Okay, this payload is encoded in UCS2. Is a kind of old because nowadays is you can use in UTF-16, UTF-32 is the evolution of this specifically encoding, but they used, okay, this specific old technique. So I convert to in hexadecimal, as you can see here. So now we have a hexadecimal information, and I generate here hexadecimal to file, and I will generate a binary file. This binary will be responsible for executing the victim machine. That's the key here in the end of this presentation. So I generate the binary called CNC. It means the command and control of the victim machine. And let's see what kind of information it can figure out inside of this binary. Let's see, cross our fingers. I tried to see the HTTP protocol, and we found the IP address of the attacker. So now we found the whole path using this attack. So if I copy and paste this IP address in a specifically max-mind GeoIP address, for example, take a look where is the origin of these attacks is from Estonia. Now we have the CNC of the attacker. So just to summarize here these informations about the whole path. So we have a PDF malicious. Inside of the PDF malicious has a JavaScript obfuscated. This JavaScript download inside of the virtual machine a payload. This payload, the attacker uses an encoding techniques to, encode the information inside of this content. And based on this download, this callback happened to an attacker based on Estonia, Europe. This is the origin of the attacker, that the attacker will receive these connections from the victim machine, or all victim machine that the attacker gain the access in the environment. So this is the flow, okay? Now, just to finish, I finish here my presentation. So I just like to share this information with you. So we are working now, and specifically tool, we are developing a cloud security tool. So me and my team in the product team, we are responsible for creating to bring this visibility to the cloud, okay? And now we are building, so we invite you to participate with us. So basically we have a program called Build With Us. So you can register, you can share with your team, you can build with us real and a super nice cloud solution, okay? So not only this, but if you have any questions, I'm totally here. So this is my social media. If you have any question to me, so I'm totally available to talk to you. And it's a pleasure once again to talk. And I hope to see you in the next conversation, okay? See you. Bye-bye.